now let's go back to you as a kid. My heart hurt reading your book. You had a very rough start to life.
Indeed.
And your parenting was not the best. I think it's fair to say. So let's talk a little bit about, first of all, you were a young girl and you were seeing, not just seeing and hearing, but you were feeling everything and other people's emotions on top of this circus of energy and beings that you were seeing. So let's talk about how that came forward in your life when you were young, and how did you share that with others and how they perceived it?
So my abilities for me, well, first of all, I grew up in South Dakota in the middle of nowhere, pre-internet. So there was no just like hopping on the computer and Googling, like, why do I see dead people, you know?
And church is kind of the center of the little community.
Oh, very, very conservative area where I was. And so I was just a normal kid, you know, cruising around on my little bike and doing my little thing. And one day I just woke up and the first thing for me was auric fields. So I started to see color around people and around, you know, I can see auric fields around everything, trees and plants and animals and whatever, but predominantly people. And so I just was like, oh, okay, well, there's that, you know, but I was just going to keep doing my little thing. So my experience was it increased over time, 2 weeks to 2 months probably in full duration for it to fully come on for me. But it started with clairvoyance and auric fields, and then it went into kind of this expanded state and like sensing ley lines and energy of the earth plane. And then I could feel everybody's emotions and I could feel their intentions. And as a 7-year-old, that's startling, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then I could start to see disease and blocks and different, you know, energy blocks in people's bodies. And then I could hear their thoughts. And then it progressed ultimately to seeing, you know, dead people and spirits. A lot of, because I was right around the Standing Rock Reservation. So a lot of native spirits.
And that'll come back into play in a minute. But let's go to your mom, because she was really a profound influence on your life. And you know, people will listen to this and say, but why would you have to choose that experience? But I have to say, I've interviewed a lot of people, and it is not unusual to have a really tough kind of road with the parents as these abilities are coming online. And you'll be able to pull it together for us later. Tell us about your mom, because she had really violent psychotic episodes.
Yeah, very, very wounded soul. My greatest teacher. I personally believe that the people that teach us the most severe lessons can be our greatest teachers, and she was definitely that for me. So unstable, mentally unstable, energetically unstable, emotionally unstable, very wounded, and she would swing. So there would be a nice side,
nice mom.
Yeah, and then there would be the really closed, you know, behind the closed doors at home mom, and a lot of rage. A lot of darkness, a lot of violent tendencies, physical tendencies.
Well, I mean, it went pretty far, more extreme than you would normally hear, and that she would try to smother you when you were sleeping.
Yep, there was that, and I had nail polish remover in my contact lens, almost blinded me. I had a hammer to my skull, and those were just 3 of the, it was like that every single day for the first 16 years of my life.
It's just, I mean, unimaginable that you did not choose an exit point.
Well, yeah, it was a lot, you know, it was a lot to work with, because here I was in the middle of nowhere and I didn't have the safety and stability of a nuclear family. I didn't understand why my mom was attacking me in this way, and I didn't really have any support or anybody I could.
Yet she was your mom and you were totally dependent on. Where was your dad?
He was a businessman, so he was gone a lot, just trying to like make a buck back in the day. Yeah. So I think he was doing his best with a really untenable situation.
You know, it was interesting when you were writing about these episodes, when your mom almost seemed to vacate her body. And I have it written down, some of the things. You said her soul would vacate her eyes. And her eyes kind of turned black. Her field was filled with blackness and shards, kind of jaggedy shards. Have you seen this elsewhere besides your mother? And also, did you see any other entities around your mother that were feeding off of her, encouraging her, or enjoying this energy she was creating.
The intensity of rage and instability, or the energy of rage and instability, has a very dense frequency, and it's almost got this metallic sheen to it. So I didn't understand what I was seeing as a kid. All I would know is that my mom would be somewhat okay and then get triggered and just turn on a dime and go into some violent rage outburst. And in the violent rage outburst, the mother or the individual, that soul essence that I could sort of feel as a mother, would be gone. And all I could feel was this vacuous kind of, and it's amazing how their eyes literally turn black. And I've seen that countless times again in the 911 system. Mm-hmm. But with her, she had her auric field would expand, and there'd be like these metallic kind of barb energies coming off of her. And again, I didn't understand. I didn't know what it was or why it was like this. I was just literally trying to physically survive at the time. And those types of attacks were so common for me that I got very adept at physical combat.